Hello, and welcome to another episode of Two Chicks, One Show, the show where we break down a currently airing show an episode a week as it airs. We will be getting back to that original format in just a couple of weeks when Agent Carter premieres. But for right now, we are continuing our trip through the 1990s, and actually, we've crossed over into the new millennium with this season of the X-Files, where we are rewatching the series right before, up till the point when it's going to come back at the end of this month. It comes back on January 24th. I'm very excited. Kait is an X-Files newbie. She's never seen the show before, so this is her first time seeing any episode and both the movies. I have been a fan for years and have seen the show too many times to count. So we're sort of discussing our differing opinions on the show 15, 20 years later, depending on the season. So we are talking about season 7. Now, Kait, I know our biggest point of contention here is that you are not a fan of season 7 and I am.
I did not like season 7.
Was there any particular reason why you didn't like season 7?
I mean, it just got weird. And then it was like, this weirdness happened to Mulder.
Mm-hmm.
Continued, and like, we didn't talk about it. Which always bothers me, where it's just like, and they've done it in the past, but it'd be like an episode in between, like something like really dramatic happens. And then they'll be like, let's go off to Ohio and like hang out with circus freaks. And then the next week we'll go back to like the dramatic stuff. But it was just like blocks of like nothing being discussed. And it just like annoyed me. And like the episodes didn't like stand out to me. There was only 2 episodes I liked.
What are those 2 episodes? Just let's go right into that.
Ex-Cops.
Of course.
And Hollywood AD.
Of course. Both episodes that I knew you were going to like. Yeah, I love X-Cops. It took me a little while to warm up to X-Cops because I hate cops. The TV show, not the actual humans who wear uniforms.
Good job making that very specific. Yeah.
But I've always hated that show, and so when I saw the episode, it sort of bored me. That wouldn't bore me, but it just annoyed me right off the bat. And then I think the second time I watched it, I was like, this is hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. No, I was like all for it from the beginning. Except for I don't know why they had to do 2 title sequence. Like they did like the faux cops title sequence, and then they still did
another one.
Yeah, no, like there's no need for that.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I don't know if maybe that's something that we've sort of gotten used to now. This is another one of those things, like the to be continued at the end of episodes, where I'd love to look like back at older shows and then at newer shows and see like, is that a thing that older shows just didn't do, where they didn't just steal the title sequence from another show and pretend, like that was their titles? Or, did they do both titles? Because nowadays, if a show is going to pretend to be something else, they just do those title sequences.
And we're just used to every episode ending with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So we don't need... Actually, it was funny. I was rewatching 30 Rock, because that's just what I do in my spare time. And they actually made a to-be-continued joke at the end of one of the seasons. And it was like, Tracy wanted to add a female to his entourage. And that was how it ended. And it was like, to be continued. And Kenneth just goes, seriously? And that was it. That was it. And I was like, that's literally what a to be continued is nowadays. But to the X-Files, that's a big deal.
Yeah, all the to be continueds in the X-Files are a big deal. But that was up through this point, to be continued. Like if there was a 2-part episode, it ended with to be continued.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah.
In terms of this season, I liked how season 6 ended, and then it began, with the to be continued 2-parter kind of thing, with Scully in Africa searching some magic spaceship that then just disappears. I still don't get what happened to Mulder. Why, looking at an image of a rock with several different languages or interpretations of holy text, made him go bonkers. But I mean, I guess that's just something I'll never understand.
Yeah, that sort of ties in to what happened to him at the end of the season with the abduction. At least that's like what you're meant to understand.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know, and I thinking about it, like, I definitely agree with you that they don't really explain what happens to him at the beginning of the season or what happens to him at the end of the last season with
Mhm.
like the bonkersness. Um, but I don't know if I ever really thought about that part of it so hard because of all of the other implications that those episodes had on like the mythology of the alien species and how more or less like the spaceship was covered in text from every religion on Earth. So
Mhm.
essentially, the aliens either created humanity or have severely influenced human culture throughout the centuries. So, like, I was always more interested in that. So I don't think I ever actually really thought about it. But you're right; like, they don't really explain what happened to Mulder's
And
brain.
like they don't explain what went down between him and the cigarette man in that facility
Where he
uh,
was all like strung up with,
yeah, and they
yeah,
break him out, and then like Mulder's ex chick dies, and I'm just like, what is going on? And then now the cigarette man's dying, and you're kind of like, what?
yeah, like he was like at the beginning of the season. The reason that Mulder was in that facility was because he was dying, and they were like trying to use him to save his father.
Yeah.
Actually, no quotes. Actually, his father. Um,
Well, great. Thanks for the spoiler.
no, that's common knowledge at this point.
What? I mean, I still think he's like just messing with them. I don't know. I don't believe CGB, whatever the hell his name is.
CGB spender.
Yeah. So now every time he says, "Well, I'm Mulder's dad," I'm just like, is he just being a dick? Like, I don't know.
Well, they never really. They don't like do a DNA test or anything,
Yeah.
but that's like up after that point where he figures it out last season. Uh, from then on, it's just accepted that that's Mulder's biological father, but his dad is Mulder,
Mulder Senior.
Mulder Senior. Yes, um, but
Oh, God, too
yeah, that
much.
whole thing with that was weird. Yeah, there is a lot of weird in season 7, but there are a lot of episodes that I really like, and X Cops is one of them.
Okay.
Hollywood AD is definitely one of them because it was one of the more funny ones, and it was David Duchovny wrote it,
Yeah.
and Taylor Leone is in it, who is his wife at the time.
I think the best part is when they go, Mulder and Scully go to visit the set, and Taylor asks Scully
How do
how
you
she
run in
runs,
those shoes?
how she runs heels, and as David Duchovny's who played
Gary Shandling.
as he's talking to Gary Shandling, you just see Scully running back and forth in the background, showing her how to run in heels.
Yes.
Like the whole conversation, Scully's just running back and forth.
And it's actually her
Um,
stunt double. You see, like, she walks out of frame for a second and then she runs across, and the one who's running is
okay.
her stunt double. Weird
And then
things that I know.
Skinner's just, it's probably one of my favorite Skinner episodes.
Well, everyone loves the bathtub 3 shot
Yeah,
where
that's
they're
also good.
all taking like luxurious bubble baths with champagne.
And Skinner's the only one that admits that he's actually doing it.
Yeah.
Like Scully and Mulder pretend like, oh, I'm just sitting by the computer, and then Skinner goes, oh, I'm in the bathtub.
Taking a bubble bath.
Yeah.
It's one of
So
the many reasons why I love Skinner. Yeah, Hollywood AD is definitely up there on episodes I really like. And I also really, I'm probably the only person in the world who really likes first person shooter.
oh yeah.
I like it because Scully gets to be that crazy badass.
I mean, it's
It's a male fantasy.
from a feminist standpoint, it's interesting. I mean, you
Mhm.
get to see the video games. I mean, video games were still very popular in 2001. So, I mean, I can't say it's like at the brink of when video games really, but I guess they became like a household kind of thing. Um, and just how it is hard to be a woman in a male field.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was okay. I mean, the lone gunmen were funny.
Yeah, I liked it because it was one of the funnier episodes and because it it let you sort of like step back from the crazy drama of all the crazy mythology that's been going on and I like the yeah, like the from a feminist perspective that Scully and this, this programmer have this
Mhm.
whole conversation about how like working in a male dominated field is difficult and that this programmer had this one character that was an escape and somehow she ended up in the game and is screwing with things. Plus, then Scully got to be awesome, and if I ever cosplay Scully, I kind of want to cosplay that version of her. But
I mean, it is a great.
What I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a great Scully episode, but in the end, the man still, monopolizes on the woman. So, kind of like he still takes the character. He's like, "This is great."
True. X-Files was a heavily male-dominated show. The entire writing staff was male.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm pretty sure anyway. And they're up until season 7, which we can talk about. There had not ever been a female director, and I'm pretty sure Gillian Anderson remains the only woman to have directed an episode of the X-Files.
Because Kim Manners is a man.
Because Kim Manners was a guy.
And I thought it was a woman.
I did too, actually, because I remember I was like looking at the trivia one day for that episode for and now I can't remember what the episode's called, All Things. And I remember looking at the trivia for it and it's saying like first episode to be directed by a woman. And I was like, but Kim Manners has directed like so many episodes. And I looked at Kim Manners and was like, Kim Manners is a dude.
Yeah, and you told me that because I was like, wait, you're lying. I just watched one with a woman.
Nope. No, Kim Manners is a man, or was a man, passed away a couple years ago. But so All Things was the first episode directed by a woman, and it was directed by Gillian Anderson. It's an interesting. Oh, she also wrote it. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting look at Scully without Mulder and like sort of her past relationships. It's not one of my favorite episodes, but I still like it.
It reminded me of the one. You can't ask me what season
you just say what it is,
because I've been binge watching them so fast that I don't even know. With the tattoo where she gets.
Oh yeah, that's season 4. It's Memento Mori. No, not Memento Mori. It's now that you're asking me, I cannot remember. Never Again.
Yeah, where it's like her and Mulder, like she's getting like gets a little sick of Mulder like telling her what to do and like doesn't want to follow him around all the time. And those parallels, and we get a little bit more of what makes Scully tick. Mm-hmm. Like this is like a side of Scully I would never in a million years think we would see.
Homewrecker?
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can call it. We don't really know the circumstances.
No, we don't really know the circumstances. We're led to believe that that's how it was, but you know, they don't really tell you one way or another. And I think because it's probably not as black and white as we'd like it to be. Mm-hmm. But there were several other interesting. And a lot of the time, I tend to judge a season based on the Scully episodes because she's my favorite character. Like I like her more than Mulder. I think she's more interesting than Mulder. But this was, I think it was a good season for Scully. There were a lot of like standout episodes for her character, and one of those was for me, Orison, which was the one with Donnie Faster. There we go. I had to look it up. The guy who kidnapped her in season 2 in Irresistible.
Oh yeah.
And that first episode where you were like, I hate that Scully's getting kidnapped.
Yeah. He escapes from prison.
Yeah, he escapes from prison and he goes after her. Like his preference has changed to redheads. And he specifically goes after Scully and he comes after her in her apartment and she shoots him.
Yeah.
Which I think was a interesting step for her to take.
I mean, is it like the first time she ever killed someone?
It's, I think, the first time she's killed someone essentially in cold blood when she had another option.
I mean, he was in her apartment.
Yeah.
She needs to move. They need to get new places.
Yeah, I think all the bad guys know where they live now.
I mean, like, even, I know we're not talking about season 8 yet, but there's a moment in season 8 where she even, like, she's having a conversation with someone and she goes, yeah, and my sister was murdered in my apartment. And it's just like, if I were that person that I'd be like, why the hell did you move? Like, why are you still there?
Why didn't you move the day your sister got murdered?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a nice apartment. And I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be in,
she's in Georgetown.
But I get another place.
Move down the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that episode because it was sort of the beginning of this spiral that Scully goes on this season,
Mm-hmm.
where there's a lot of crazy things that are happening to her that are different than the crazy things that are happening to Mulder. Like all the crazy things happening to Mulder have to do with the alien conspiracy and him being whatever the hell he was at the beginning of the season and then getting abducted at the end of the season. But for her, all of the weird spiral was very much her terrestrial life. You know, it was killing this guy who threatened her. It was going with uh, Smoking Man
Yeah.
on that weird, crazy road trip.
Excuse me.
You know, with which I actually really like that episode.
Yeah, so I think that's the last time we see Smoking Man for a long time.
Yeah.
No, he comes back in the finale. Don't they push him down the stairs?
Yeah, in the finale, that's when he gets.
Pushed down the stairs. I mean, I think the journey for Scully in this season was like actually starting to believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely like that turning point where, I mean, the beginning of the season, she was faced with this ridiculous amount of evidence
Yeah,
that everything that she and Mulder have been investigating has actually been
true.
true. Yeah, has actually been this thing, and she can't deny it anymore. And that's one of the things I like about that two-parter is I like all of Scully's voiceover monologues
Hmm.
because it has a lot to do with her being like, I don't want to believe this, but I kind of don't have a choice anymore.
Yeah, well, and I think you could see parallels into the reason Mulder believes so much in there being aliens and all this X-File crap is because he believes that something happened to his sister. And now that something's happened to Mulder in a way that's unexplainable, Scully starts to like believe in it a little bit more. So maybe she needed, even though it's happened to her, she still doesn't believe it was alien. She believes it was the government, but she can't really explain what happened to Mulder. And like, I think that was something that was like, well, maybe they are onto something here
Mm-hmm.
moment for her. So I don't know. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, and I always like the conversation that the cigarette smoking man has with Scully in the car, where he basically tells her, "You're in love with Mulder, but you're not letting yourself talk about it."
I mean, I think once a season someone tells her that.
But it's more interesting coming from him,
Yeah.
you know, than other people in the periphery.
Mhm.
Um, which actually brings us to later in the season, because when the season ends, one of the biggest reveals, not just that Mulder has been abducted, but that Scully is pregnant, even though, as far as we are to understand it, she cannot get pregnant.
Yes.
Now, everybody's like, oh my God, who's the father? Who is it? What's happening? What's going on? In a late season episode, the one with the
The
genie.
genie, and they just magically spend the night together and no one knows what the hell happens. Hello.
Yeah, because it ends with her falling asleep on his couch.
Yeah.
Like it
I
starts
mean,
with her waking up in the morning and getting dressed.
yes.
And then the one before ends with, no, it was her episode, All Things, ends with her falling asleep on his couch or something. And whatever, she wakes up, is putting on clothes in his bathroom.
Yeah.
And so everybody's like, did they sleep together or did she just sleep on the couch?
Yeah, and then you're kind of led to believe that she just slept on the couch because it does end with her falling asleep on the couch and
Yes.
him putting a blanket on her. But I mean, he spent the time with a genie, and we're assuming that his final wish was to let the genie free, but
Mhm.
maybe he wished for Scully to have a baby.
Maybe he could have wished for Scully to be happy. He could have wished
Yeah.
for like any number of things.
So,
I mean, the assumption is there that he wished the genie free because of the
yeah,
last shot. But
yeah. But maybe she threw him a wish before that wish.
yeah,
Something.
maybe she gave him an extra wish because
Yeah,
he was
I mean,
so nice.
she's a freaking genie.
Or maybe he wished her free and she still had powers, like the
Yeah,
genie in
we don't know.
Aladdin, who still
She
has
could have had
powers.
like an earthquake, like aftershocks. Like she has an
He has an
after wish.
aftershock wish granting power.
Yeah, we don't know. It's
I
X
always
Men.
like genie episodes because they inevitably always do the same thing, which is be careful what you wish for. But they're always fun. To be
I like
like,
this one because she like literally took what they said. Like he said, like I want peace on Earth, and then like everyone disappeared.
yeah,
So
Because he was like, I want to do something that's completely altruistic.
Yeah.
You know, peace
So,
on
like,
earth when there are no people.
that was a good one. I liked the one where there was young Shia LaBeouf before he put a paper bag over his head.
Yes, I do like that one too.
Yeah.
Both because Tiny Shia LaBeouf and also because I like the actor who plays the lucky guy.
Mm-hmm.
The Goldberg variation, I think, is that one because it's Rube Goldberg machines.
Yeah.
That one's good. There are a lot of good. As always, there are a lot of really good standalone episodes in any given season. Then there was the. I don't think you liked these two episodes. I like them because I think of some of the writing, which is Sein und Zeit and Closure, which is the one about the family whose daughter is kidnapped and they trace it to like Crazy Santa.
Oh yeah.
The one where his mother dies.
Yeah. That was weird.
I like it because from a Mulder character's perspective, you know, he draws a lot of, you know, parallels to his sister, and eventually, like, he finds her handprint or name or something in the cement of this weird development.
That, like, annoying Skinner Jr. and annoying, what's his name?
Spender? Agent Spender?
Yeah, because wasn't it Jeffrey?
Jeffrey Spender, yeah. Jeffrey Spender and Samantha Mulder.
Samantha's handprints were next to each other.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And so I like the episodes because, again, I like some of the writing. The whole Starlight thing at the end of Closure I really liked.
It didn't give me anything. Like, it's Samantha.
No.
Like, I'm very confused.
Yeah, and that's the part that I don't love about.
They just, like, they weave her into, like, almost everything, and it's like, just stick with one thing.
Yeah, like, what happened to her? Just tell us what happened to her. And I think they were playing it out, like teasing it out as much as they could, because they weren't sure when they were going to get canceled, so they didn't know, like, at what point they could give up this storyline.
Just like when we had the storyline, it might have been in season 5 or 4 with the serial killer that with the paper hearts.
4 paper hearts, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, stop. Just tell me, like, was it aliens? Was she just taken by cigarette smoking man?
I think that it's one of those things that sort of, like, they knew what they wanted to say about it, but they weren't sure when they could say it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, is that I don't think they realized that they could have easily just wrapped up the storyline as much as they could, maybe teased out something a little bit later that was a variation on the thing, but they could have wrapped up the storyline way earlier, and I don't think it would have hurt the series.
I mean, there's just a lot of Samantha Mulder stuff. Let's be real. Like, there's the clones. There's that woman that Cigarette Man brought to meet Mulder. Who the hell's that bitch?
The clone?
Yeah, like the old clone. There's there's the young Samantha clone.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the old Samantha clone. Then there's the one,
like 28.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the older than the young one.
I know what you mean. I'm just joking.
Then there's the one that Mulder meets in the diner, the cigarette smoking man, and she goes, "That's my father," and he's like, "What?" It's just tell me. I'm getting very sick of it.
Yeah, I can't tell you that that's going to be a happy day. Yeah. You'll find out exactly what happened to Samantha in season 9, is all I'll tell you.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah. Can't tell you you'll be happy about it, but I can tell you you'll find out.
I don't. It doesn't matter. I just want to know.
You just want to know. I just want to know.
I just want to know. I'm not like being like, oh, please, God, let it be this. Like, just tell me.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
So.
Anywho, so then we get to, I think this brings us pretty clearly to the end of the season. And you'll probably notice by the structure of the episode and the fact that they went back to the same place that they went in the first episode. This was, again, meant to be the series finale.
Okay.
Again, this is now the second series finale that we've had on the X-Files. There will be 2 more. Only one of them will stick. So, yeah, you'll notice that this was obviously supposed to be the series finale. It was supposed to be the full circle storyline, and then they got renewed, and they were like, God damn it, now Scully's pregnant.
Yeah, now we gotta do something.
So I'm curious as to your thoughts on the finale.
Um, I didn't dislike it. It wasn't one of my favorite finales that they had. I
Fair.
mean, previous it did feel like a series finale because it wasn't like previous finales. I was like, I have to watch the next episode right away, and this one I was just like, duh.
Well,
Like
you did message me with who's the baby daddy.
that's all I cared about. And like I knew at that point I knew there was another season.
Yeah.
So, unlike people that had to like wait a whole summer, I had the ability to watch the next episode right away.
Mm-hmm.
I part of me wishes it was the series finale, and then part of me is happy that it wasn't. Like I like the full circle kind of thing. I don't think I would be happy as a fan back in 2001 when this was shot.
2000.
Was it 2000?
Yeah, this is the season that had Millennium in it.
Okay. I don't think as a fan in 2000 I'd be happy with that ending for Mulder. Like him just being abducted and that's it.
Well, as with the previous season, Chris Carter never necessarily intended to end the story there. He always wanted to do movies to wrap up the whole story. So I don't know if that ending would necessarily have happened if they had been canceled. Like I don't know if Scully would have gotten pregnant. I feel like she probably wouldn't have because the actress wasn't pregnant, so there wasn't any need to make her pregnant. And I don't know if Mulder would have been abducted if it had been the last season. But I do think that he would have wanted to finish the story with a movie. Because as it is, there has been another movie after the series ended, and there's going to be this new 6-part show, which will presumably wrap up the story.
Yes.
So
I'm still going to have questions after the frickin' movie?
Of course you are.
God. Never ends. It's a never end.
Well, you're still gonna have questions after the end of the series. At the end of the series, not horribly pressing ones necessarily.
Oh, okay.
It ends it in a way that you're like looking forward, or you're thinking about, oh, what could possibly happen, and you can see an obvious place for them to have another movie. They did the following movie, the one that came out in 2008, does not answer any of those questions.
Oh.
Intentionally, like by design.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to do a third movie that would. And that is hopefully what this new series will do.
Dear Lord.
If you haven't had the chance and you have watched the whole series already, I do not recommend doing this if you have not watched the entire series. Go to allgeeksome.net. There is a 22-minute featurette that the X-Files posted last week. That lays out some of the really cool stuff that they're doing for this 6-part season, talks about the different kinds of episodes they're going to do, and sort of touches on things that if you have seen the whole show, you really are interested in. If you have not seen the entire series, do not watch that video. It spoils the series finale a lot.
I have not watched it.
I told her she was not allowed to watch it.
So thank you, TV Line, for like kind of ruining it just in
the headline, where they pointed out like 2 of the biggest things that were in.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's 15 years later. I can't really be too mad.
Yeah, it's one of those like, can you be that mad when it's been 15 years?
Yeah.
And but admittedly there are people who haven't seen it, and you didn't need to put those things in the headline.
No.
It was a little clickbaity.
Which I clicked.
Right. And so many other people, like we posted it where we just said like new stuff in this 22-minute feature. People who have seen the series who aren't going to get spoiled will click on that and watch it because they're interested in the X-Files. People who are currently watching the series will click on it, see spoilers, and then not watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know that you needed the clickbait headline that said like, blah.
Because I've been so good.
Especially because there are people who try not to be spoiled for future episodes.
Yeah.
And it was not only spoilery for the series, but it was spoilery for the upcoming
season. Yeah. I mean, I welcome spoilers. I mean, I read recaps for shows I don't even watch.
I've read way too many Grey's Anatomy recaps for somebody who's never watched Grey's Anatomy.
So, I mean, But now that I'm this far in, I don't want to spoil. So I'm trying really hard.
Right, you've managed to go 8 seasons without getting spoiled.
Yeah.
And
Just
you got
like
one season left.
I know, just like Outlander.
Yeah,
Have you read the
Outlander,
book?
I have to read that book before the new season starts.
Our mutual friend started reading, well, not reading, she started listening to the second book, and she's like texting me stuff. I'm like, please stop like texting me while you're listening to this, because I don't want to know. I go, don't tell me. So
She can text me.
yeah.
Yeah, so, I think we've wrapped up season 7 of the X-Files. We're actually doing a double feature of Two Chicks, One Show tonight, so that at 9 p.m. we'll be talking about season 8, the introduction of Agent Doggett.
Which I like.
And
Elsie's dad from True Blood.
yes. For me, he's Terminator 2, T-1000.
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk to you about say something. I hope
The Metal
you got
Man?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That made me so happy.
Okay. We will talk about that in a half an hour.
Okay.
If you are a Two Chicks, One Show fan, please join us for that show. Also, please stay tuned because in just a couple weeks, Agent Carter comes back to ABC on Tuesdays at 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. I don't remember.
Well, the premiere is a 2-hour event.
The premiere is a 2-hour event. We will be covering it episode to episode, back to our original format of 1 episode a week once Agent Carter starts. And after that, we will be doing Outlander again, which I know we have a lot of people watching who love that show. And we will once again be doing it with Kait having not read the book and me having read the book, which I still need to do. So,
it's a big book.
It is a very big book. The last one was very long. So we will see how that goes. All right. So this has been Two Chicks, One Show for the X-Files season 7. We will hopefully see you in 30 minutes for season 8. See you next time.
Yeah.